Good evening. So, after a day of trying to clean the house and get ready for some company to come in this weekend, I'm actually going to make some tofu burnt ends. This is going to be a 2-day process, and I'll show you the first part tonight. So, the first thing I did was, I'll show you right now. I got some tofu. It's 2.5 bricks, and I already cubed it up. So just make some easy cubes for yourself. And I'm going to throw those on the smoker. My husband wanted to be able to do some, a pork roast, I do believe is in there right now. And he left room for me. So if you're on the ethical vegan side of things, ignore the meat. And if you don't care, there you go. We cook everything together. Back this up a little bit for you. So, first step, real easy. All you do is cube up your tofu, and about that size. I did 3 cuts down, 4 across, and I lost one. You always have to lose one for posterity, right? We're just going to lay them out in here so that as they're nice and wet, tofu picks up a lot of the smoke. So this is just blonde, plain old tofu. We're going to get them laid out in here. Keep it away from the pork because I really don't want the fats to get on. And it's okay to fuss with it a little bit. It's going to cook at 225 for about 2.5 hours. That way it loses some of the water that's in here, reduces down a little bit, and it picks up all that wonderful smoke. Once you got your tofu in, we're going to go inside and we're actually going to make a marinade. So tonight, after 2.5 hours, and I pull this off, we get to put it in the marinade, put it in the refrigerator, and it's going to be able to soak up all those good seasonings. There are a few tweaks that I made to this recipe. So the recipe for the smoked tofu burnt ends, I actually got from Wicked Foods Inc. I will put the link down below and also put in the changes that I made. So one of the things that I have to change in here is that they want you to have oil in the marinade. I'm not going to do the oil. That's okay because that's my prerogative. I get to change up whatever I don't like. The other problem I had was the place that I usually buy vegan fish sauce from didn't have any and I was out. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a different version for vegan fish sauce. Basically, it's to try to get umami in there. So I think I've got some miso paste inside and some soy sauce, and we'll do some seasonings in it. Just so that when it gets in, when the hot tofu, because you want to get it into the marinade hot so it soaks everything up, you want that umami flavor in there. And that's what the miso paste and the soy sauce is going to do for us. So let's do this. Let's get moved inside and I'll show you the marinade. Okay, so for the marinade, I did double it because I'm just afraid it's not going to quite have enough liquid. And for the fish sauce that the recipe calls for, I'm just doing miso paste. And I've added some water to the miso paste to already get it easier to diffuse throughout the marinade. So for what I've done, it would be 6 tablespoons of the no meat, no chicken, better than bouillon. So we'll get that in there. And then 6 tablespoons of soy sauce. 6 tablespoons of, well, actually 3 tablespoons of molasses. It does call for 3 tablespoons of oil. What I'm actually going to end up doing is getting 3 tablespoons of water. So that will make this a little bit less thick too. When you're doing a recipe, you just got to change it up for what you're looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, we've got 2 tablespoons, which would be 4 tablespoons of the sriracha. And then 6 tablespoons of the balsamic vinegar. Quite a good dollop of the miso paste, just to give it some umami flavor. I'll also add some salt to it too. And then I've got tomato paste. Okay. I'm going to get that all in there. I'm going to go ahead and whisk this together, as if you didn't see that coming. All right. And kind of what I thought, it is a little bit thick still because we don't have the extra water in here, or oil in here. And since it is calling for oil, oil doesn't necessarily add a lot of flavor, but it does carry flavor. So that's why people like to add oil, because it makes it sit on the taste buds a little bit better. But I'm avoiding the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, without dropping that, my whisk, I'm going to grab some water. We'll go ahead and dump that in. Now, I think the measurements that I told you guys are a little bit wrong. But like I said, I am going to put this recipe down below so you can go to their actual website and find out how it is they recommend to be putting this together. I just want you to be able to see that, you know, there's a bunch of really good recipes out there. There's ways that you can play with them if you don't want some things in it, like the sriracha sauce. You might not want sriracha in your tofu burnt ends. I happen to love heat, so I piled a little bit extra in there. All right, now I'm going to go out and get our tofu because it is done cooking, and you can take a look to see what it looks like with just the first smoke. Okay, so we've got our tofu, and I'm just going to bring this up here a little bit, and you can take a look. You can see some of it. It's got some of that nice grill marks on it. It's actually turned a little bit yellow. And if you want to see where the smoke profile is, go ahead and take a bite. Just peel a little piece off. It's a little bit firmer than it normally is coming straight out of the package. And I can definitely taste some of the smoke. I'm really excited when it gets the second smoke tomorrow. And especially with the seasonings and the marinade in there, that's what I'm ready for. Okay, I'll just put this over here. The other thing that I want to do is I want to taste the marinade. See where that's sitting. And of course, every time you do a marinade, it's always going to be a lot richer than what you're actually going to taste on the food, because not all of it gets into the food necessarily. And you want to be able to make sure that you can get as much flavor in there as possible. So let's take a look. That is delicious. What I am going to add is more sriracha. This is just for me. You obviously don't have to do it, but I like heat. So get it in now so that your tofu can soak in it. If you wanted to add garlic or onion, you could do that. Black pepper, all kinds of good stuff in the world. You take your tofu, you just gently get it in there, plop it in. And I'm really glad with this recipe that I ended up doing a double batch for the marinade specifically, because I like to make sure that my tofu gets in and just really gets covered by the marinade. I just didn't think that it was going to be quite enough for 2 bricks of tofu. Well, 2.5 bricks. I'll go ahead and kind of stuff them all down in here. And then with this deal, what I like to do, it's so easy. I'll put my lid on. And I have found that if I do that, shake it a little bit, I don't normally make too big of a mess. I did that time. I'll take the spoon again. Just get some of the ones that are sitting on top flipped. And as the night goes on, I might come in here, shake it, flip it a little bit more, make sure things get turned around and they get all covered by the marinade. That's going to sit in here until tomorrow when I'm ready to go smoke it one more time. Tomorrow we're going to also be doing a dry rub on them, and I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Get some crispiness in there. We'll smoke it one more time so that you can get even more smoke and get a little bit well done. If you're going to do a burnt end, you might as well get them a little bit charred around the edges. So I'll see you tomorrow. All right, welcome to day 2. We have marinated our tofu cubes overnight that we smoked yesterday for 2.5 hours. I did come through a couple of times, just mix them up, let them make sure that the ones on top really got in there and got to soak in the marinade. Today, we've got a 2-step smoking essentially. The first step is going to be, we're going to take the tofu cubes out and coat them in a rub, which I've got the Kinder Seasoning all-purpose meat and veggie rub, not affiliated with anybody, and about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. So just take your cornstarch, dump it in, and I'm hoping this is going to work the way I'm envisioning it. We're going to find out. And then we've got the rub. Just take a little whisk. I did about 1/2 cup of rub. Whisk it all together. And then we're going to try to get as much liquid off as possible so that it doesn't turn completely goopy. And the recipe says to take the cubes. Well, might not use that. We'll go ahead and use tongs. I think that's going to work better to get them out. That way we can kind of tap them on the side. Gently place them in there. Get as much off as possible. These are still a little bit more robust than tofu that you take right out of the package. In the meantime, you just kind of got to be careful because they're still not quite as sturdy as I like them to be. There we go. And depending on how you cut your tofu, you don't have to do cubes. You can cut them long slices. That way, you know, it's easier to put maybe on a sandwich. And even after you get done with this step and get them off of the grill, you can still dice them up a little bit more fine if you want to be able to put it into maybe a rice dish, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing as far as a rice dish goes. I think that'd be really, really, really nice. You know, there's something about some good old rice, and when you're a meat eater, maybe some pulled pork on top. You know, all kinds of options. Okay. So we've got them all in here. I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to grab a plate. Should have thought of that beforehand. Here we go. I'm going to grab a plate, put it on top, and really try to work it all in there. Let's take a look at how we're doing. Yeah, it's starting to pick it all up. Don't want to break the tofu up too much. Let's just kind of get this moved around a little bit. The other way you could have done it is to actually pour the rub and the cornstarch on top after you mixed it together. You know, we live, we learn. For me, this is all a little bit about experimentation. Got to figure out what works well for you. Because like I said, not the best cook in the world, but I'm learning and I'm getting better day by day. When you actually start to like the food you're cooking after hating how you cooked for years, it's kind of nice. All right, so let me show you that. Got that all mixed up in there. Looks like we got pretty much all of the rub done. And now we're going to take this outside and get it on the barbecue, on the on the smoker, not the barbecue. I have words. All right, I'll see you out there in a second. Okay, here we are out at the smoker. Let's go open her up and take a look. My husband, again, was wonderful to set this up so that I could get these on. And he's got his own plans for it after I'm done. So, I don't know if I've said this before, but when you're smoking, you want to give each piece a little bit of room so that smoke can twirl up around and just hit all the pieces of it. The nice thing that I have found with smoking, again, is I don't have to put any oil on the grill. I have found that it releases just fine. I don't have to worry about it. I just got to get her on so that he can get to his own project, you know? It's good stuff. If I haven't said it before, I'll say it again. He's a good cook. And I've learned a lot from him. It's been a lot of fun. Okay. And I will admit to you, last night, when I took the tofu off the grill the first time, and put it in its own marinade, I did eat some of that tofu. Not a lot, like 4 or 5 pieces, with just the marinade on it at that point in time. That marinade is good stuff. The people that came up with the recipe definitely know what they're doing. That's why I wanted to tell you who they were, and give you the link for it, because there are so many good recipes online that have a great base to them. And if you are having particular dietary issues that you're trying to work around, don't be afraid to take somebody's recipe, make it your own, have fun with it, just enjoy the process and see what it is that you can do to meet the standards that you're looking for. So we're going to smoke this now for about an hour. Then we're going to, the instructions say to wait for it to get a little bit charred around the edges, and it'll definitely get firmer too. And just be, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I don't have any words for it right now. But I'll see you in about an hour, and we will finish it up with the last smoke, the third smoke of the day. All right, it's a little windy out here, so hopefully it's not interfering with the camera too much. Sound. All right, so what I did, this is going to be the last smoke, essentially. Like you do with a lot of porks, if you're doing pulled pork or burnt-end pork, you get your barbecue sauce, you toss it in the barbecue sauce, and then you toss it back in for another 15 minutes so barbecue sauce can get in there, caramelize a little bit. It makes it taste so good. So that's what we're going to do right now. Got one more smoke to go, but this is going to be the short one. So, pro tip, I should have just sprinkled on the rub. Had to try it out this time, the first time, because what ended up happening, and I didn't realize it when I did it the first time, is I got these chunks of the rub, and it's a little bit strong, so I'm just going to take it off of a few, but a little bit warm. So we'll just take these, toss it into the barbecue sauce, and then we'll stir it up, give it a good rub, give it a good toss. If you can see on this one's actually starting to get a little bit brown, which is what I wanted to achieve, because you want it to be actual, burnt ends. Get a little bit of a char on there. My husband's going to be like, "What did you do to my smoker? It's all dirty." I'm going to have to clean it off for him so he can get his meat on there. Like I said, probably should have just sprinkled on the rub instead of trying to toss it all on, because it got gloopy. Okay. Get this in. Then as I put each one back on the grill, Kind of clean some of those off, let that drip through. All right. Live and learn. And that is part of the fun. So, just want to make sure that we get each one nice and evenly tossed this time with the barbecue sauce, if I can get it turned over. So it looks something like that. Just start placing them on there. Again, get them on evenly. Don't want to waste too much time with this because as you leave the lid open, you lose heat. It'll come back up to temp pretty quick though because the whole Kamado Joe is hot. Where'd my dog go? There she is. Got my girl out here with me. Her name's Trinity. She's a big old mutt. She's my snuggle buddy. All right. And she has no problem cleaning up what we drop. Should have named her Hoover. Okay, we're getting closer. And the fun thing too, as you do this, you'll see how your tofu has shrunk. And if you eat some of it, it looks like it shrunk even more than when you originally cut it up. We won't talk about that part though. But you know what? You got to test as you go. Especially if it's something that you're trying out for the first time or second time. And then you get down to a science. But you got to know what it is that maybe you went wrong with as you go with it, because then you can actually fix whatever you think might be a mistake. Like, for instance, putting on too much rub. Didn't need it. And in this instance too, with the barbecue sauce, I use Sweet Baby Ray's, and I actually added in some Cholula sauce. Like I said, I like things a little bit spicy, so I had fun in between takes. I went and just checked on a little bit, grabbed a piece off, tried it in the barbecue sauce that I put together with the Sweet Baby Ray's and the Cholula. I just wanted to see if I was going to like it. And then I ended up saying, yeah, that's going to be perfect. So even if you buy barbecue sauce from the store, you want to be able to give it a little bit of a different flavor or jazz it up a little bit, you can. All right. So there's our tofu. And then 15 minutes, and I will see you in a couple. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. Let's take a look. I haven't checked on it in between because I wanted to make sure that the temperature stayed up there. Oh, those are looking pretty. So, here we go. There you go. So some of that the barbecue sauce is dried on there a little bit. It's gotten nice and dark. Pull these all off, and then I get to try it. It's nice and sticky. I've been looking forward to these all day. Okay. And like I said, you want to make a tofu burnt end sandwich, you can just chop these up a little bit. Throw them on. A little lettuce, tomato, pickle. You'll be good to go. Okay. Here we go. A little bit hot. Let's try to break a little piece off here. Blow it off for a second. Some of that rub. A little bit too much, but that's okay. The smoke, the seasoning, the barbecue. Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. And even now, though, I would still say a little bit too much rub. You live and you learn, you move on. What do you think, Trinity? Want to come say hi? Come here. Sit. I'll blow this off for you because it's too hot. Yeah, I hope I'm not blowing into the microphone. All right, there you go. There you are. That went down okay? Anyway, for veggie's sake, eat for your health. Have fun with recipes, changing up the way you need to. Wash your hands after you're done. Love you. Bye.